think of a camera. You've got a lens with filters, focus, framing, and other effects that you can create. Each aspect of this camera functions to create and change the outcome of a photograph, making it look cooler, warmer, focusing on a specific object in the foreground of a frame. Now I'd like to introduce a new concept: perception. Jim Taylor from Psychology Today wrote that perception acts as a lens through which we view reality. Our perception influences how we focus on, remember, interpret, understand, and act on reality. Our perception works as a camera, illustrating how we see a person, a situation, or even a season. It can make the picture beautiful, or it can distort the purpose of the photo altogether. Perception starts before anything even happens, through our preconceptions, acting as a camera filter that we see everything through. There's a fairy tale called The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen that's all about how the powers of love and devotion overcome evil and despair. But there's a part in it that touches on the theme of perception. A character's perception of himself is distorted, and he becomes cold. It reads, "Long ago there was one more evil than all the others, the devil. He invented a mirror that made everything that was beautiful and good appear strange and horrid. At first, they only played with the mirror, but one day they flew up into the sky with it, and the mirror spun out of their hands. Down it fell, shattering into a million pieces. If one of these ever entered a person's eyes, nothing looked right again. But far worse was the fate of someone whose heart was pierced by a sliver of the mirror. They would soon forget the pain, never knowing that the heart inside them had frozen into ice." Now, this not only applies to how we see ourselves, but how we see everything. So many things can cloud or filter our perception of something. For example, Dorothy Brandon from Alabama and Auburn University points out the idea of unconscious or implicit bias. Basically, this is the idea that you are influenced by past experiences or upbringings about future events. If past experiences of an event were awful, it's easy to remain under the impression that it is not subject to change and will be the exact same next time. Similarly, Tom Dotz from NPL Comprehension explains that other people's perceptions can be easily projected and make you believe that someone or something will be inherently bad or good. All of this subconsciously makes you expect something based on what others think and not your own personal experience. For instance, if I told you that winter was an awful season because it's cold and dark, you'd go into winter expecting the worst, and that is likely what you would get. But you missed something. The intricate, beautiful pattern of a snowflake landing on your coat, the joy of decorating a Christmas tree with your family, or the warmth of hot chocolate amidst the cold, the wonder of coming in from the cold into a warm house with a crackling fire. Our perception continues in the moment, like the focus feature of a camera. It's easy to pick out the good or bad of something based on your preconceived biases, looking only for what you want to see, not the whole picture. Imagine you enter a coffee shop. You sit down and the tables are messy. Your order is delayed by 15 minutes. It's crowded. What awful service. You're never going back there again. They don't care about their customers at all. And that's where your focus is. On yourself. What you don't see is that there are only two people working behind the counter. One just left to go to the store to get bread, and the other is overwhelmed doing all the work alone. Making lattes, calling their manager for help, serving customers, running around doing so many things during a Saturday morning rush. It's actually common to focus on one thing and blur the rest. Why? The National Library of Medicine describes a concept called selective attention that allows your brain to focus on one specific thing that you think are important, while ignoring distractions. It's easy to miss what's happening behind the scenes because your brain considers them unimportant. What your brain considers important is what directly affects you in the moment. Finally, there are after effects of good or bad perception. The framing of a picture. What you already decided about something, the preconceptions, and what you choose to see in the moment, the focus, is what sticks with your memory in the frame. Do you have a childhood memory from a photo? You look back on it and remember just what's in the photo. You could remember the sunburn that's evident on your cheeks that hurt for weeks after. Or you could remember the wind blowing through your hair while you ride down the street in triumph while riding your bike for the first time. What you don't see is right out of frame. In this first memory, you don't remember the waves that you played in with your cousins and the accompanying joy. And you don't remember the scrapes that came every time you fell off your bike. There's a choice. You could have a bad perception of something, the sunburns, or a good one, the triumph. The frame blocks off certain things in your memory, helping create a good or bad image to look back on. You remember what you choose to. You remember how you framed the experience. Perception is a filter, not explicitly the reality. I want to remind you of this, that you have an influence on the outcome you see. It's a choice, and that choice can change in a moment. So keep an open mind to see things differently. Don't take outside influences as fact. Come at the experience with curiosity and kindness, both towards yourself and others, rather than jumping immediately to conclusions. Choose a filter that doesn't distort. Choose a focus that doesn't search for the negative. Choose to frame the perfect imperfections. Maybe then we can see just a little more clearly what the full picture looks like.